Yeah, what do you reckon of that, my profane friends? You know what I mean? Look, even the Vikings were Masonic. The three X's, my profane friends. We've got a light on here, no. See? Yep, the three X's of 666. And if you look in the history, everything's a lie anyway. You know it is, don't you? You know, look, everything. See? Square and compass, the point, the obelisk. History is a lie. Remember that. Don't believe the lies, they feed you. But yeah, I'm in this old museum. There's just plenty of Masonic symbolism all the way through. The Freakmasons have always been there, always manipulating secretly within our societies. You know what I mean? I mean, look, who do you think runs this? Look, wait there, let me put that on there. And again, what do we see? What we got? Let's see if I can come out. 1 chair, 2 chair, 3 chairs, which make a pyramid, a round table for the compass, and you sit on the square. See? All the way up there, look. 3 chairs, round table, so it's a pyramid, a square, and a circle of Freakmasonry. How wonderful and exciting it is. Do you see what I mean? They've always been there. The Freakmasons have been here for centuries, working and worming their way, leeching off society of good people, because they only do corruption. That's what they deal with. And they corrupt their way to the top of the food chain, and that's all they've done. You know what I mean? They need to be ousted out of our councils. Masonic seagulls, look. See the Masonic seagulls, even through history. But that's what I mean, you know, the difference is, like I said, these are the parasites of society. You know, these Freakmasons. So you've got to be really careful, do you know what I mean? What you're doing and what you're dealing with within your town and city. They're just hiding their Masonic aprons, do you know what I mean? And that's what they do, hide their aprons. So you, the profane, will never know they're taking and stealing every opportunity away from you in life, because they're having a great time. They're celebrating within the lodge, they're eating well, they're dining well, you know what I mean? And like I said, they've got cash and food stores, so if it ever did kick off, they're the ones, all your dignitaries, the lords, the dukes and the earls, they've got all their food, water, stashes that could, so they could survive any sort of uprising for the next 100 years. And that's all they've done. They've just been making their positions of power, that making sure that if we ever did rise up or try to take them out of power, that all they've got to do is put themselves in their bunkers. You'll not get fed, so the starvation will be the first thing they get you with, do you know what I mean? Is famine. And that's what they do in all wars. If you look for famine, you know what I mean, and food, how far it is, because they're the ones that give it to you. They're the ones that own the lorries. They're the ones that own the food companies, and they say, oh, it got blockaded, oh, it got bombed up, but it isn't. They just take all the food off the lorries for themselves, and then blow the lorries up on the thingy and say, oh, all the food, but there was nothing. The trucks were empty. Do you see what I mean? They took the food, but they pretend they're trying to feed you. They say, oh, here, we've got a convoy coming, you know what I mean? And they take the food, the trucks are empty, they blow up, yeah, profane drivers are driving, of course. They blow up, they leave one person alive, that'll give the story that they got attacked. But all it is the same side that take it away from you, and then you believe the story, because the story they give you is fed to you on a spoon, and then everyone's walking around going, yeah, they blew up the convoy, they did this, they did that, do you know what I mean? And then you hate the other side even more, the people that are normal family men, and you hate them even more, so you go to war with them when you see them. Do you see what I mean? And that's what they've done all the time during war. You think that's the other side or the other team are in. Think to yourself now, if you were at war with someone, any country or anything, would you, as a profane person, shoot someone or, you know, try and kill someone? No, you wouldn't. Do you see what I mean? And that's the difference, do you know what I mean? But you get fed a story that they do this to you, they do that to you, so you actually do it, and they lie to you, so you fight for them. The only thing that people are doing that are fighting are going to take them away from positions of power. Do you know what I mean? They're the ones that people are trying to fight for freedom. Do you see what I mean? You know, that's what it's all about, getting your freedom back from these parasites, which are the lords, the dukes and the earls. Just look at the heraldry, I've shown you, you know what I mean? They own everything, and that's the people you've got to take the power away from, you know what I mean? But like I said, to do that, they'd rather, you know, if a whole town went, no, we're not bowing down to you, and kicked out all the Freemasons, they would nuclear bomb it, do you know what I mean? Just to take that power back, you see what I mean? Because you're not free, you're nothing. You know, look at this cat in here, look. Wonderful. You've got a big fox in this one. Or is that a pelican? No, it's a puffin. It's a puffin. That's more likely a Freemason. It's a puffin. You know what I mean? There you go, my profane friends. What a lovely fox. Right, anyway, my profane friends, I'm now going. I just thought I'd tell you about a bit of the history they lie to us about. You know what I mean? But there you go, that's what it's all about, you know what I mean? They give us lies, they feed us lies, so we attack people that are just family members. These are the people you're up against, these look. See? Even when William Wallace was fighting them, yeah, you imagine who betrayed him? These people. Why did they sell them out? Because the bigger gang and army, the English, paid them lands, titles, do you see what I mean? But it protected them. It was enough for them to betray him to get what they wanted, you see what I mean? Keep their lands, keep their titles and keep their power, you see what I mean? But apparently he was fighting for the freedoms, but they betrayed him, you see what I mean? That's the difference. And the English more than likely frightened the lads, yeah, and said, if you don't do this, we'll get this, that and the other. The English, the French were involved, you know, in helping that family, you see what I mean? Because they called to banners, we've helped you in the past, now you owe us, you've got to come and help us against William Wallace. You see what I mean? And that's what happens all the time. They just protect themselves, and they pay well to protect themselves, you know what I mean? But now, over the centuries and decades, they've sort of faded into the past and hid themselves behind their Masonic aprons and work us, you know, like slaves, and we don't even know about it. But these are the people that own all of this real estate, you know, the lords, the dukes and the earls, you know, but they just hide it now, you know, and they're quite happy to go along for the next 100 years, keep people on drugs, keep people enslaved, keep people fighting amongst themselves, and using people like Tommy Robson and all the other little shields or whatever they're called to keep us fighting the wrong people, when the real people we should be fighting are the people that own the pubs, own the clubs, own the businesses that feed us, you know, the trucking companies, all of them have got to be taken out. That's what you don't realise, do you know what I mean, in every town and city, because they're all part of that scheme of keeping themselves in power, keeping themselves enriched. And all they do is, just like you say a business go under for instance, they don't. They just make it look like that because they're feeding your history, you know what I mean? And that's all it is. Because it doesn't matter what the company's called or goes to bust or ruin or whatever, they just set it up if they want, because they got the money. They own all of this. Look, all of that down you see down there is what they own. They own this cafe, they own this museum, they own this castle. The chairs you see here, the 3 chairs, 3 chairs. But when you see the 3 chairs, yeah, everything is 369s. But again, they made these chairs. Do you see what I mean? No profane person owns this chair company. So I mean, they put 1 chair here that belongs on this table. So again, it's 3, and that's what it is. Even this cutlet, what I'm drinking from, was made by a Masonic company. Do you know what I mean? And that's how they sell us a lie all the time. Anyway, have a great day. Did you like that? Did you? Oh, I thought he was listening to me, the geezer there. I thought he was listening to my spiel, you know what I mean? He was thinking shit, because I'm going, the history's the lie, and he was listening to me, him there. I think it's, you know, I don't even know if they speak English, whether they understood, but the point of the matter is they do feed us lies, you know, and it doesn't matter what it is. They've been around for centuries and decades, you know. Look, the circle, look. You see it? Look, it's 4 square, look, you see it? 4 square, 4 square, 4 square. All that is 4 square, which represents 666. You know what I mean? But again, is this real or not? I don't know. Or has it just been made up by the museum? You see what I mean? It's you know, it's just film products. You know what I mean? It's products from films. You see, that's all it is. What you know? Is it true? Is it a fact? I don't know. But because it sits in the museum and they tell you it's facts, then it makes it true. To me, that could be cast in any film production company, all of this, it could be patinaed down. You see what I mean? You've got your little Masonic, but that's what I'm saying, it's all patinaed. Is it believable? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? That's the lies they feed, isn't it? And that's the thing about it, what is truth, what is fact, because that has been made, that's been made, all of these cases have been made, do you know what I mean, for a specific of feeding you some type of rubbish that this is our history, you know what I mean? Do you know that one? That's a Masonic bird, that one. You know what I mean? That's what it is. And again, you're in here, you go to their shops and their restaurants, and then you consume, you know what I mean? You spend your money, you know what I mean? They don't spend their money. They can't spend their money. They got all the wealth, they got all the power, they've stolen it already during the war. Where do you think all the gold went from the Second World War, for instance? All the gold, all the paintings, all of that, where did it go? Do you see what I mean? And that's what it's all about. They've got it all. They didn't give anything back into the communities, have they? And what do you think's going on now? All the money you see here from the real estate, all the money that's now coming to here, for instance. The building apparently is supposed to be public funded or whatever, but what money's gone back into the society? Nothing. They don't put anything back into society. It's just for the betterment of their nation, so they're remembered. It doesn't matter what you're looking at, all of this is Freemasonry history, Freemasonry, thingy. This is a castle, isn't it? Is this a castle? Yeah, that is a castle, yeah?
Yes.
Where's the Lords, Dukes and Earls then? Where are they? So, you don't know where they're gone? Oh, right. Thank you. He don't know do you know where the Lords, Dukes and Earls are gone, mate? Like the lairds. Do you know the lairds? What ruled this castle, yeah?
Yeah.
The family. Where are they now then?
So there was never really a laird living there. So the castle is from the 1830s. It was like a modern rebuilding. Yeah. The earlier version was blown up by the Jacobites when they were retreating from Culloden.
So what were the Jacobites then?
So Jacobites, the history of the Jacobites is upstairs, but the Jacobites are the followers of the Stuart kings.
Right, yeah, the kings, queens and all of that. Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
So after James VII of England, third of Scotland, it passed through his daughter to his nephew, who's William of Orange.
So it went through nepotism, yeah? Like will down to the family, yeah?
Yes, yeah, like all kind of royal dynasties.
But that's what I mean, the dynasties are still here today though, aren't they? Where are they?
But which ones though?
All of them. They're all still here, aren't they? None of them have been, where are they gone? The Stuart dynasty's still here, the relatives, aren't they?
Of the Stuart family?
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah, that's what I mean. So what do they run in the town? That's what I'm saying, for instance. They run most of the businesses, surely, don't they?
No. So
what would they have then?
So after the kind of Jacobite tried to rebel, so the issue was that the kind of Stuart kings were Catholics, whereas William Warren's is Protestant. And so there was a kind of big issue which kind of echoes down to the present day between the kind of denominations of Christianity. Yeah. So the Jacobites wanted to put back the Stuart kings on the throne of Britain, but they were exiled to Europe. So Bonnie Prince Charlie, the Old Pretender, these were people that lived in Europe and are kind of related.
But over there they were kings and queens as well, weren't they?
Well, they were kind of they were accepted as part of the elite there, but they didn't actually own any kind of claim to any land or anything.
Yeah, there. Not here, but over there they did, didn't they? That's what I mean. Like when say the French came and helped us, didn't they? They got titlements and that, and then we helped them as well. We helped the French as well, or the Spanish, blah, 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 depending on what war. But the only people that fought in them wars were people like us, family members, wasn't it? To protect them, wasn't it?
Well, certainly
That's what I mean.
Certainly in the Battle of Culloden, so like the last battle on British soil, it was mainly kind of Highland Scots versus Lowland Scots. Yeah. So Jacobites.
But who were they fighting for? The lairds, weren't they? The elite. They were fighting for the elites, weren't they?
Sure. So at that point, there was still the kind of clan system in place. So they were
clans. Yeah.
They owed kind of allegiance to their lairds, but that was For the Highlanders, it was
the
mainly
allegiance, that's what I mean. So William Wallace got betrayed by them, didn't he? Do you see what I mean? When he went to England, they betrayed him because because the English king gave them entitlement, lands and whatever. So they betrayed him, and then he got chopped up, blah, blah, blah. But the same thing goes on. What I'm saying, in general, across the world, we've got kings and queens in control of, still in control of cities and towns and that. They're still in power. The heraldry, the shields they all have, but they just don't do it now on knights in horseback or lancers or swords. They do it with like police uniforms on and things like that, and they're protecting the elites in the towns, within the cities, and they own most of these businesses and things like that. Do you see what I mean? Do you think we need to get them out of business, shouldn't we?
Well, certainly there's, like, I can only speak for Inverness, but there's not really, I mean, anyone that has the surname Stuart is related to the Scottish King, so you know, we're all, if you go back far enough, we're all related to.
Oh yeah, everyone's related in bloodlines, but how important you are up that pecking order. Do you see what I mean? Like, you know, direct bloodlines, they still control towns and cities. And what I'm saying is, people believe they're gone, they in. Like, the Stuart family controls, like, what county is Inverness? Is that a county? Is that like in England, it's Norfolk, Suffolk, you know, and all of that. They're called counties. Do you have counties in?
We have councils, so Highland Council.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. They control the Highland Council, for instance, don't they? They're not going to allow you or me to go in that council and go, make decisions for the town, are they? You see what I mean? You've got to be an elitist to run that town hall, haven't you? Do you know what I mean? They ain't going to allow you or me to make decisions for what's best for the people. Do you see what I mean? They do that, don't they, overall? Because they're higher pecking order, aren't they?
Well, I mean, the councils are run by kind of elections. So
elections? No, of course they put the roads aside. You know, from a very young age, their children are all like groomed to that positions of power, aren't they? Do you know one profane person that's been put in a position of power?
Yeah. My neighbour's a member of the council.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, he may be, but they have the odd few. But there's someone that supersedes his power. He looks like a representative of the people, but he's not, because if they didn't want him in there, he wouldn't be there. Do you see what I mean? So he's rowing the same way. But if he said, no, I don't want you guys, they would boot him out, wouldn't they? And they'd have put someone else in place, wouldn't they? That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You can't really get in positions of power because they wouldn't allow you to, will they? You know, like, for instance, you ain't going to be able to go to the Buckingham Palace and be a, do you see what I mean? They ain't going to allow you to do that, you see what I mean? And that's what they're doing in every town and city. They're keeping the main power base of every town and city, the lords, the dukes, the lairds and everything else, them elite families, and we've never really got a true saying because they decide who gets put into positions of power, you see what I mean? You know, that's the thing about it, innit? Do you see what I mean? Like, if you're the chief man here, I don't know if you are or not, and he's like the underling, he ain't going to over-supersede you because you over-supersede him, don't you? So you ain't going to allow him to take position in power of you, are you? Because you're the king, do you see what I mean? Would you walk out would someone come and say, oh, you're there, and get demoted? No, you'd feel like slighted like they would. They wouldn't walk away from that. You know, like the government, if we said to all the MPs, you're all useless, come out, they wouldn't do that, would they? Because the elites wouldn't allow it, because they've got people there now rowing their way and protecting their best interests, you see?
Certainly it's happened in the past, isn't it? I mean, that's the
way it's been made to look. Do you see what I mean? That's what I'm saying. But if you look at it, Hollywood, all them people in Hollywood are related to presidents and kings of this country. Yeah, if you do the research on it, each and every one of them presidents, even Obama, all linked to Hollywood and all of that, because they're all the elite's family. That's what I'm saying. We watch the elite family, and they're the manipulators, and that's how it all works out. That's what I'm saying. There's no way you could move Hollywood away from them because they wouldn't allow it. You see what I mean? They ain't going to allow you or anyone else to take that power. You see what I mean? That's what I'm saying. So the people that are put in power in Inverness or whatever town you want, they ain't going to allow anyone to take that power. You, me, because we're profane. That's what they call us. You know what I mean? We're just simple peasants. Do you see what I mean? They ain't going to allow it, are they?
Well, I mean? Okay, for instance then, so we have Karen Gillan, actress, who's from Inverness.
Yeah.
How does she tie into that? She's like,
I don't know her family or background, but guaranteed you're not getting in positions, like all boxers now, the boxing industry, it's all run by gypsies if you look at it, so you ain't going to get in unless you're a boxer. Do you see what I mean? You ain't going to, unless you're liked. If you're not liked, you ain't going to get in anywhere. Do you see what I mean? You have to be part of that crew or likeable people to be in that position of power to get in, you know what I mean? You know, and that's the thing with it. You know what I mean? If you ain't liked or whatever, they'll take you out. Like Margaret Thatcher when she got ousted out of power, didn't she? Yeah. See, that's how easy it is. You know what I mean? And they can do that. You know, but it's like they do it on subtle levels rather than higher levels. Do you know what I mean? But unless you become, you know, part of that society, you ain't getting in. That's like if I'm the chief footballer, right, for a football team, I get to pick and choose who's getting, to come in. Who's going to get the most preference? The person I know and who I like is going to get that preference and get into the team. I mean, let's put it this way: you're now going to walk up the catwalk, or we'll have Brad Pitt's son walk up the catwalk. Your son or his, who would get the preference? Brad Pitt's son, wouldn't they? Because he's more famous. Doesn't mean like whatever he's just a human, but because he's got that special power, your son would miss out. Do you see what I mean? That's on a higher level, if you know what I mean. But they're doing that on the lower levels within towns, within cities, and they're choosing and picking who's getting them positions of power. Do you see what I mean? And that's what's happening on the higher level. Like, you know, if I'm Madonna, her son or her daughter will go on the catwalk or get a film preference over your son who's an unknown. Do you see what I mean? And that's what that is as you go up the levels. You know, like MPs will give their sons preference on positions of power. Do you want to look after the NHS? Do you want to look after this? And that's what they're doing. And that's all about elite families. But we don't know about the elites or who they are because they put themselves in the background now. You see what I mean? And that's what it's all about.
Oh
yeah, thank.
I think Susan's wanting to speak to you.
All right.
Anyway, thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your time as well. It's really appreciated, yeah? All right, thank you. I'm just trying to get some history, you know what I mean? You're all right, thank you. You're the best of the best of the best of the best. Hello, have a great day. You're welcome. Right, where am I going now? Right, so that went down like a lead balloon, but you see what I mean? You can't explain to the people, they think it's all good, but he's just see what I mean? I'm talking to someone who can't get out of that tunnel vision, you know what I mean? They just carry on the same old way, you know what I mean? They sit in their little 3 chairs, oh, right there. They sit in the 3 chairs of pyramids, you know what I mean? Look, on the round table and sit on the square. Don't matter where you go, you will follow the Masonic rituals of life. You know what I mean? Do you understand that, sir? Excuse me. Do you understand that, do you? The chairs? No?
Sorry?
Do you understand the chairs? Why all the tables have got 3 chairs? Do you understand it?
No.
That's a pyramid, yeah? Right? And then the table is a circle, right? So, and then you sit on the square because of the 4 points of the chair legs. So what's got pyramids, squares and circles? Masonic lodges, haven't they? You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Are you on the square? Are you on the square?
No.
No, see, that's what I mean. You're a good man then, I love you. But that's what that is. They get us sitting in their Masonic rituals, you see. It's amazing, isn't it? I wouldn't sit on one, personally. You never know what you're getting into. And that's why you've got 3 chairs there. You see, they could put 4 there. There's room for 4 chairs there, but they put 3. Amazing, isn't it? But anyway, that'll do. I've had a wonderful time. Like I said, but you can't get through to people, you know what I mean? You know, if I said to people here now, if I said to them, this is made up, and it more than likely is anyway, they wouldn't believe it because the curators feed that story and they're feeding the story that they've been fed. You see what I mean? And that's the thing with it. You know, I could stand in here. I'm more than likely get ejected if I, you know, even if I proved it right. Let's just say I proved it right. Yeah, that was a fake. That was a fake. Everything. Most of this was a fake. Yeah, everyone here that would be ejected. Yeah, and then the story would go out. That wouldn't even go out. That wouldn't even be told. Do you know what I mean? Because there's enough people they know that'll come back. Yeah. Without knowing the story anyway, I'd be ejected or arrested and put out anyway, but the story wouldn't get out because all I'd be doing is uploading a video, you know, onto YouTube, and a lot of people wouldn't swallow it anyway because I haven't got the power or the voice like they have, you know. Even if a few people believe it, they could put it on the news on every channel and say boom boom and deny it, and people would believe it because the newscaster who they've known in their house on that little box for 100 years has been telling them this, you know, the truth, you know what I mean? And that's what it's all about, you know. And you know, how can you turn people around now? You know, when you talk about, you know, like the Freakmasons, you know, this, that and the other, the families or the royals or the elites, you know, them special families within your towns or cities, they think they're gone. They're not, they're still there. You know what I mean? You know, you go ask them about the Lairds and the Stuarts and the this and that and whatever. They're still there. They control the lands. They've got the titles. And if you think they're gone, you're joking. They're still about. You know what I mean? Still doing the same thing, making sure their positions of power within every town and city is solid. But you've got to do the research on it. And they know to do that. Who's going to take up that job? You know what I mean? How are you going to rouse up to do that? And everything you try and do and show as a research, regardless of what it is, you know, and I can show you plenty of people that have got the research and the proof for many things, you know, like the corruption through finances, that's Gary Waterman, you know, and things like that. There's other people, obviously, I could go and mention, but, you know, with proof, but they can't get the story out or the facts, because they hold the higher charge, because there's another, you know, it doesn't matter, you can put one person up front with the truth, they'll have 100 people there denying it, that with authoritative uniforms or suits, and hide their Masonic apron and go, that's a lie, do you know what I mean? Oh, well, you stupid. And just by the peer pressure alone will turn that person, if you've got 1, 2, 3, whatever, who believe you, they would then turn around and deny it, because they don't want to look stupid in front of 100 people that are telling them a lie. Do you see what I mean? And that's how they get you every time. Well, anyway, that's me moaning about the museum. Oh, baby. You know what I mean? Trust no Freemason, ever. Their power and lies know no bounds. But I can make this up. Anyone, any film crew can make any of this up. And that's the thing about it, innit? You know what I mean? They sell us the lie. You know what I mean? Right, I'm now going upstairs. Hopefully, there'll be some other stuff of interest. You know what I mean? I think that's brilliant in here. You know what I mean? I think that's brilliant in here. What's upstairs? The Jacobites are upstairs. The Jacobites?
Jacobites upstairs, sorry.
Okay, yeah. Right, cheers, thank you. Right, let's have a look. Oh. When he saw me coming, he actually put his back to me and turned around. He thought, oh no, he's coming back again. But thank you. But that's what they do, you see. You know, because I'm not giving the narrative he wants to hear. You know, they change it. Now watch this, look here, watch this. I'll show you how Masonic this place is, right? Look. Now not the three circles that make a square, but this sign here, look. Oh mate, this is taking a piss. And the point within the circle, nothing Masonic. Look. The point within the circle, the Masonic A. How profane do they think we are? And that's the 5 points here. Look, and what I did with that church. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera off here, so I want to get per picture of this. But look, there's the 5 points. Look, and see how it's 5 circles. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But on the other one, when I said the flower, it's the 6, which it is. Then you've got your 3 circles here, look, for 33. And then you've got the 5 points, which is 2, 3, 2. 2, 3, 2, the Masonic cube of 6. See what I mean? And then you've got your Masonic sheep. That is pure Masonic, look, and it's in 1837. The longest reign on record. See, all Masonic, look. See, they're telling you Queen Victoria, you know what I mean, reigned from 1837 to 1901. So the Freemasons were in control for all that time. See what I mean? It's mad. Hello. Do you understand that? Like the O in Victoria and the A, do you understand them two signs?
Not really, no.
No,
That's the significance.
Yeah, the point within the circle, which is the compass, and the A, that square piece, is the square, so square and compass. See, it's a Masonic A, look. See, and each O has got a dot in it, which gives you the point within the circle, which means it's Masonic. You see?
There is a lot of Masons, isn't there?
Yeah, I know, yeah. Are they good or bad here?
They're not too bad.
No,
They're not too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of Freemasons, but that's a hidden sign, you see, with hidden symbolism. Very clever. Yeah, yeah.
You know that?
How do I know what?
How did you know about that?
Oh, I'm like a profane brother. And the A is the square and the compass, and normally there's a G in there, yeah, which represents gypsy for G travellers, and that's what that is. That's what the G means in the square and compass, because we travel east. You see? Sorry.
What did you say you were? A profane brother?
Yeah, I'm a profane brother.
Yeah. What does that mean?
That means I'm not within the temple. I'm without the temple, but I'm like, you know. But yeah, that's wonderful, and the symbolism's everywhere. Do you know what I mean? They put it in everything in our history. You know what I mean? If you look for it, you can see it. See, 3 circles make a square.
I would never have noticed that.
No one was, because you're profane. See, which is a good thing. That's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? That's a good thing. But people don't see it, but you'll see it. Everything's. If you go look when you go downstairs, go to the calf, right, and look at the chairs, right, and they get sitting in ritualistic ways, right, and you'll see 3 chairs round a table, and that's 3 points. What does the 3 points make? A pyramid, right? So that's the pyramid, and then you sit on the square. The 4 chairs are the legs of the square, yeah, and the table is round, which is the compass. You see, circles, squares, and pyramids, which is all to do with Freemasonry. You see.
Yeah.
Is that as well? You get the pyramid on the back of the dollar.
That's it, yeah, with the all-seeing eye, you see, and that's why they got that. You go to most cafes and that, you'll see there'll be a round table, 3 chairs, and that's a square, compass, and pyramid. You see, so be careful. Don't sit in it though, because you're actually sitting ritualistically, believe it or not, and you're in you know, a hex. Do you know what I mean? Where they hex them, you know, you're in society, but people don't see it, they don't believe it, and they don't know it, but it's all around you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that. Oh yeah. Well, that's another one, isn't it? You know what I mean? All right. Have a great day. Thank you. Yeah, you're right. You're welcome. So there you go. Right, I'm going to turn off now. You know what I mean, my profane friends. And I'm going to take a picture of this on its own. Have a great day.